I'm Hema Rajesh, tutor for biology. Today I will be covering movement and locomotion. Briefly, I will run through how to access revision notes and test in class6.com. Open our page class6.com, click on practice. You will see a lot of packages. Select the package you want. Since we are doing NEET classes, I will select on NEET Premium. And then you will see lot of tests in physics, chemistry, biology and full test. Now let me click on biology. Here you see lot of bubbles, colored bubbles. Each colored bubble is a test. Now if you see a green bubble, it means you have completed the test, but you can always revisit the test any number of times you want, either to improve your scores or to revise. Now blue bubble shows that you have yet to take the test. Yellow bubble shows that you have not completed the test. It's sometimes you would have started the test after 3 or 4 questions, you would have realized you are not thorough with the concepts and you need to relearn them. So you will discontinue and go. Once after learning, if you get back, this will remind you to complete the test. Now here you see lot of tests depending on the complexity of the chapters or the textbook and also its importance in the NEET. So some will have up to 7 tests, some might have 4 or 3, and all these tests are created keeping in mind the complexity and also the need for your NEET. And this red bubble is also a test. Once you have completed all these 3 levels, you can click on the red button, red bubble, and then it's a randomized test which will help you to revise, wherein the complexity will be in randomized fashion, and it is up to you for you to help. It will help you whether you are able to recollect and apply the concepts. Now, with this. I hope you have got to know about how to navigate through the website. In today's class, I will be revising the key concepts, do a practice test based on concepts learned, and the last 5 minutes I'll answer your queries. Here you see a revision notes button. If you click it, it will open into the revision notes, which is a PDF file. Now, before we get into it, you might be wondering how NEET exam papers are going to be. I know, don't get tense, be relaxed. If you look at our NEET papers, we have analyzed it and found that there are 3 kinds of questions. Around straight from NCERT, around 68 to 70 questions will be from NCERT. They can be attempted easily by those who are thorough with NCERT syllabus. Direct from previous year's question papers, another 8 to 10 questions may feature up. And if you have solved the past year's examination papers, it will be very easy for you to score. And at least 8 to 10 questions in the NEET will be newer questions. These questions become the game changer, for these can't be solved by mere mugging up of facts. Though they are from NCERT textbook only, you need to apply the knowledge that you have about the subject. So in this website, we have made an earnest attempt to help you prepare adequately for your NEET. Now I hope you have got the framework. Now let us begin the lesson. Hence, I would always suggest having this would be a beneficial, would be a best study tool for you, and it would help you to prepare in your exams adequately. Now, if you look at this PDF is made up of 35 pages of 11th and comprising of 11th and 12th physics, chemistry and biology. We have put all the essential features that are required for your NEET examination in a nutshell, so that it becomes very easy for you to understand the concepts and revise the concepts. Now let us begin the lesson, locomotion and movement. Movement is one of the fundamental characteristics of all living beings. Non-living objects do not move spontaneously. The movements of the living things are autonomic, while the movements of non-living objects are induced. Now, the movement, locomotion helps an individual in shifting from an unfavorable surroundings to favorable one for food intake, defense against predators, searching partner for reproduction, and places for laying eggs. All living multicellular organisms are capable to move their body parts according to their need. The movements can be both internal and external. Now let us try to look at the types of movements. The cells of the human body will show three types of movements. Amoeboid movement. It helps in food capture and change of place. It is found in leukocytes, that is phagocytes and macrophages of the human lymphatic system. Ciliary movement, it is found in respiratory tract of human and also in the fallopian tubes and vasa efferentia of females and males respectively. Muscular movement, it is used by most vertebrates including human. The characteristic of this is to exert a force by alternate contraction and relaxation. Now we know that muscles are very important. Now let us look into types of muscles. This is a printing error here. It's a types of muscles. There are three types of muscles, namely skeletal muscle or striated muscle, visceral muscle or smooth muscle, and cardiac muscles. Now let us look at these muscles in brief. Striated or skeletal or voluntary muscles. Skeletal muscles are typically organized into strong compact bundles or bands. These are called skeletal muscles because they are attached to the skeletal elements and are responsible for movement of trunk, appendages, respiratory organs, eyes, mouth parts, and so on. Skeletal muscle fibers are extremely long, cylindrical multinucleate cells that may reach from one end of the muscle to the other. These are packed into bundles called fascicles, which are enclosed by a tough connective tissue called perimysium. The fascicles are in turn grouped into a discrete muscle surrounded by a thin connective tissue layer, and it is called epimysium. Most skeletal muscles will taper at their ends where they connect to bones by tendons. Other muscles such as ventral abdominal muscles are flattened sheets. Now let us look into involuntary muscles or smooth muscles, also called visceral muscles. Smooth muscles lack the striations which are found in the skeletal muscles. Smooth muscle cells are long, tapering, spindle-shaped, each containing a single centrally located nucleus. Each fiber has an envelope which is derived from plasma membrane. Smooth muscle cells are organized into sheet of muscles circling the walls of the alimentary canal, blood vessels, respiratory passages, urinary and genital ducts. Smooth muscle is typically slow acting and can maintain prolonged contractions with very little energy expenditure. It is under the control of the autonomic nervous system. Thus, unlike skeletal muscles, its contractions are involuntary and unconscious. The principal functions of smooth muscles are to push the material in a tube, such as the intestine, along its way by active contractions, or to regulate the diameter of a tube, such as blood vessel, by sustained contraction. Cardiac or heart muscles. These muscles are found in the heart wall. Structurally, they resemble with striated muscles, but functionally, they are like smooth muscles. Each cardiac fiber is a short cylindrical and a uninucleate structure. They are placed end to end in rows. Now, intercalated disc or zigzag junction occurs in between the two fibers. These fibers are covered by sarcolemma and they are somehow branched. Cardiac muscles are fast-acting muscles and they contract under the involuntary autonomic control. Now, let us look at the structure of a myofibril. Now, skeletal muscle is made up of number of muscle bundles or fascicles held together by a connective tissue layer called the fascia. Each muscle fiber is lined by sarcolemma enclosing the sarcoplasm. A large number of filaments are parallelly arranged called myofilaments or myofibrils. Each myofibril has got alternate light and dark bands on it. The light bands contain actin and it is called I band or isotropic band, whereas the dark band called A band or anisotropic band contains myosin. Actin filaments are thinner as compared to myosin filaments, hence they are also called thin and thick filaments respectively. The thin filaments are firmly attached to the Z line in the center. The A and the I bands are arranged alternately throughout the length of the myofibrils. The portion of the myofibril between two successive Z lines is considered as the functional unit of contraction and it is called a sarcomere. In a resting state, the edges of thin filaments on either side of the thick filaments partially overlap the free ends of the thick filaments, leaving the central part of the thick filament. And this central part of the thick filament, which is not overlined by thin filament, is called the H zone. Now, from the structure, let us now look into what is the composition of the muscle fibers and contractile proteins present. Muscle tissue contains about 75% water, 20% protein, and 5% non-protein organic matter and minerals. Potassium is the most abundant mineral element in the muscle. The oxygen carrying iron protein pigment of muscle is called myoglobin, and it has only one heme group, contractile proteins. The protein part of the muscles can be divided into myofibrillar proteins, which make up about 50 to 55% of the total, and they are responsible for the actual contraction of the muscles. The major proteins are myosin, actin, tropomyosin, and troponin. Actin is a globular protein. In the presence of ATP, G-actin causes hydrolysis of ATP and aggregates into a double helical structure, which is called the F-actin, which interacts with troponin and tropomyosin. Troponin is made up of three subunits. One set of three troponin subunits is associated with each molecule of tropomyosin and is involved with the activity of 7 actin molecules. Now with this, let us now look into the action of mechanism of muscle contraction, which is explained based on sliding filament theory. It is initiated by a signal sent by the central nervous system via a motor neuron. The mechanism of muscle contraction is best explained by sliding filament theory. The junction between a motor neuron and the sarcolemma of the muscle fiber is called a neuromuscular junction or motor end plate. At junction, a neurotransmitter, acetylcholine, generates an action potential in the sarcolemma. Utilizing the energy from ATP hydrolysis, the myosin head now binds. So have a look at this diagram. Now at the myosin head now binds to the exposed active sites on actin to form a cross bridge. This pulls the attached actin filaments towards the center of the A band. The Z line attached to these actins are also pulled inwards, thereby causing a shortening of the sarcomere. That is contractions. The I bands get reduced whereas A bands retain their length. A new ATP binds and the cross bridge is broken. The ATP is again hydrolyzed by the myosin head and the cycle of cross-bridge formation and breakage is repeated, causing further sliding. The process continues till the calcium 2 plus ions are pumped back to the sarcoplasmic cisternae, resulting in the masking of actin filaments. This causes the return of Z lines back to the original position, that is relaxation. Now, repeated activation of muscles can lead to the accumulation of lactic acid due to anaerobic breakdown of glycogen in them, causing fatigue. Muscles contain red colored pigment and it is called the myoglobin. The myoglobin content is high in some muscles, which gives a reddish appearance known as red fibers, and they are also called aerobic muscles. Some of the muscles possess very less myoglobin, hence they are pale in appearance or white, and these are called white fibers. They depend on anaerobic process of respiration. So you can see the differences being tabulated between red muscle fibers and white muscle fibers also. Now let us look into the human skeletal system. The total number of bones in the adult human is 206. The axial skeleton is composed of 80 bones. Appendicular skeleton consists of 126 bones. The number of bones in the skull of human is 28. That is, cranium bones 8, facial bones 14, and ear ossicle 6. The skull bones fit together by sutures. Cheekbones are called zygomatics. The vertebral column of human consists of 33 vertebrae. There are 12 pairs of ribs on human skeleton. The first 7 pairs of ribs are known as true ribs, while 8, 9 and 10th ribs are false ribs, and last 2 pairs, 11th and 12th, are known as floating ribs. Now you can look into this the organizer to understand the different kinds of bones that are present in the human body. Now, what are the functions of the skeletal system? Skeletal system provides the support for the body. It provides delicate support to internal organs such as heart, brain, and lungs. It provides surface for the muscle attachment, helps in blood cell formation, acts as a storehouse for minerals such as calcium and phosphorus, also helps in breathing and hearing. Now with this, let us get back to the joints. Now a joint is a meeting place of two bones. Arthrology is the study of joints. It can be classified into three types: immovable joints, slightly movable, and freely movable joints, or they can also be called fibrous joints, cartilaginous joints, and synovial joints. So let us first look at the fibrous or synarthrose joints. In these, the adjoining bones are joined by strong bundles of collagen fibers so that the bones cannot move freely. The bones of the skull articulate with one another in a type of immovable joint called suture. Articulation of teeth with mandible and maxillae are examples. Now, articulation between the first pair of ribs and the breastbone is also an example of immovable joint. Now let us look at cartilaginous joints. In these joints, there is a pad of fibrocartilage between two adjoining bones, which allows for very slight movements, and they are called symphysis. The example, joints between pubic bones of pelvic girdles and the joints between the vertebrae. Now, the third type is synovial joints or freely movable joints. In these joints, the movement is possible in one or other direction. The ends of articulating bones are covered by smooth articular cartilages. A cavity called synovium is present between two bones, which is filled with a gelatinous synovial fluid. Now, these synovial joints can be further classified as ball and socket joint, hinge joint, pivot joint, gliding joint, and saddle joint. Now, the last part is, let us look at the disorders of the skeletal and the muscular system. So, myasthenia gravis is an autoimmune disorder affecting neuromuscular junction leading to fatigue, weakening, and paralysis of the skeletal muscles. Muscular dystrophy means results in progressive degeneration of skeletal muscles, mostly due to genetic disorder. Tetany is a condition of rapid spasms. Spasm means wild contractions in the muscles due to low calcium ions in the body fluid. Arthritis, it is inflammation of the joint. It makes joint painful and movement becomes very difficult. It is due to lack of synovial fluid at the joint or ossification of articular cartilage, that is osteoarthritis, or deposition of uric acid crystals in the joint cavity, that is called the gout. You might have seen your grandparents, if they are very old, complaining about the pain in the knee, and that is because of arthritis. Osteoporosis is an age-old disorder characterized by decreased bone mass and increased chances of fractures. Decreased levels of estrogen is a common cause, and especially when women who are undergoing menopause, then osteoporosis sets in, and that is why they had to take up a lot of calcium supplements. Now, gout occurs due to inflammation of joints due to accumulation of uric acid crystals. Osteomyelitis is an inflammatory disease of the bones due to infection of streptococcus, usually at the place of the bone. It results in severe pain in the affected part of the bones, fever, and pus formation. Slip disc means the vertebrae, sometimes what happens, they move away from their original position, that is intervertebral disc, and this is what we call it as slip disc. This will be causing you neck ache, backache, or sciatic pain. Spondylitis is inflammation of one or more vertebrae. It may be due to arthritis, tuberculosis, or ankylosis. So with this we are completing all the concepts that are very essential from this lesson. Now let us get back to the test. So let us look into the lesson, that is locomotion and movement. Now, each organized skeletal muscle in our body is made up of a number of dash held together by common collagenous connective tissue layer called dash. Each dash contains a number of dash and each dash is lined by the plasma membrane called dash. Now, let us look at it. Muscle fibers, muscle bundles or fascicles, fascia, muscle bundle, muscle fibers, muscle fiber and sarcolemma is the answer. Each myofibril has dark, alternate dark and light bands on it. The light bands contain dash and is called dash, whereas the dark bands called dash contains dash. Now this has to be actin is the first choice. So in this, out of this you select one. The first one will be actin, the last one will be the myosin. With this now let us try to see. Actin, I band or isotropic band, A band or anisotropic band and myosin. So it is the choice is C.